Hi, it's Tanya here from Find Your English Voice. Welcome back. Last week we talked about why small talk feels harder than presenting, even though vocabulary is simpler. This week I want to give you something more practical, a simple 4-step approach to small talk that works in almost any professional context, that doesn't require you to be clever, funny, or particularly confident to use it. Before I give you the steps, I want to offer you the single most useful reframe that I know for small talk. You don't need to be interesting, you need to be interested. When you walk into a conversation trying to be impressive, the pressure goes up and the words become harder to find. When you walk in genuinely curious about the other person or people, it helps you to relax more. The conversation stops being more a performance and becomes more of an exchange. Keep that in mind as we go through these steps. Step one, you don't need an original opening. You need a reliable one that you'll actually use. The weekend, an upcoming holiday, the journey in, the weather, a recent shared experience at work. These topics are safe because they're universal, low stakes, and feel familiar. The professionals I work with who are most comfortable with small talk are not the most creative conversationalists. They're the ones that have 2 or 3 reliable openers they've used many, many times, and that reaching for them costs them nothing. Decide before you walk into the room what your opener will be. Write it down this week, and if it helps, have it ready. The next one, step 2, genuinely listen. This sounds obvious, and yet it's the step that most people underestimate. When you're nervous in a conversation, your attention goes inwards and you're monitoring your grammar, planning your next sentence, worrying about how you sound, but the person in front of you becomes almost background noise. Genuine listening requires almost no English at all. Eye contact, a nod, letting the other person finish before you respond, showing through your attention that what they're saying matters to you. People can feel the difference between somebody who is listening and somebody who is waiting to speak. Be the person who is actually listening. You don't need to use a lot of English to keep that going, even just or making it look as if you're understanding what they're saying, you're following along. That's enough. Step 3. This is the step that can transform a conversation from an interview into an exchange. And it's one that a lot of people miss. After the other person has answered your questions, share something briefly about yourself before asking anything else. It doesn't need to be interesting, it doesn't need to be long. For example, mine was quiet, the first one in a while, if you're talking about the weekend. I went to see my family, which was good. One sentence that is like a small offering of something personal signals that you're present and that you're willing to be seen and heard, even slightly. And that is what creates the feeling of connection rather than just a transaction. Small talk doesn't need to end awkwardly. It can move into a business conversation with a simple and natural transition. Anyway, shall we get started? Or good to catch up. I think we're all here now. You don't need to engineer a smooth segue. The transition is not the hard part. Beginning the small talk in the first place is the hard part. Once you've done that, the move to business often happens quite naturally. Ask a safe question, listen genuinely, share something briefly, and move naturally onto business. That's the whole thing. This week, try it once in one conversation before one meeting or one call. Just use the first 2 steps if the last 2 feel a little bit too much for now, because you're building a habit, not performing a technique. Each time you do it, it will feel a little bit easier. In this month's blog, I talk about this, and there will be a description below. If you would like to go a bit deeper into this, I have a couple of books on Amazon that might help. The first one is English ESL Small Talk, which covers the phrases and language that you need. And the second one is the Companion Workbook, which gives you the practice to make them feel natural and to make them your own. Links will also be in the description below. And here we have some places where you can follow my work or find me. And if there's something you would like me to cover or a question you would like to ask, I'd love to hear from you. Take good care. I will see you next week. Bye for now.